Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters, and welcome back to a 1 versus 1 between the red Protoss player NexSickness and the blue Zerg player SlaveZenith. This is just a one-off game. It's not part of a series or anything like that, and this is just a public game. It's not part of any tournament or anything like that. And evidently they're speaking something in Korean right there. Not sure exactly what they're saying. This map is Slag Pits. It's one of the newer maps in the ladder pool, although the 1 versus 1 map pool is being updated again. I believe it just got updated as well. I haven't played too much because it's not in the new season yet. They ended up having some problems and they weren't able to put it on the quite on the new season yet, and so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with that and exactly what's going on there. But this is a fairly new map. It's I guess it's most notable by the fact that there aren't any expansions in the middle, but there is a watchtower that covers, like, I guess I would say shortcuts to the middle, but you can easily send your army around it. And if you're like adjacent to your opponent like this, then it actually isn't that if you're adjacent to your opponent like that, it's actually not that crucial to control the watchtower area, unless like the map ends up getting split in half for a little bit. I will say, out of the new maps, this is kind of a so-so map to me. I do enjoy watching games on it. Don't get me wrong, and playing on it, but I think some of the other maps are probably better in my opinion. And so I just like those better. And it looks like the probe has decided to go the exact wrong direction. It was actually, the Overlord decided not to turn around. I guess he realized that he uses Overlords to see the scouting probe going around, and he realized there was no harm in giving away his position there. The probe wouldn't be getting there that much sooner, and he's not going for a fast expansion anyway, so the probe's not going to be able to do too much damage. He could certainly put a pylon down, which he might do. No, he's not going to put a pylon down until SlaveZenith goes to expand. But it's possible he could be putting a pylon down as well. It looks like he's not going to do that, and SlaveZenith is actually just not going to expand. He's probably just going to be getting the Queen and the Zerglings first, chase out the probe, and then expand. Just a little bit later expansion, and a little bit way to be a little bit safer. As I did show it in a previous game, there was actually the Cannon Rush, which works against hatch first Zergs, and doesn't really work against gas and spawning pool first Zerg players rather. A very standard build, and a little bit of a non-standard wall-off, I would say. Normally you don't want to put your pylon on the wall-off, especially if it's your only pylon powering these two buildings, because a Baneling Blast can actually just take out the pylon, sometimes the Zealot guarding it as well, and then just run into the Protoss base, and the Protoss will probably only have one gateway at the time anyway. He will have a sentry though, so that'll help NexSickness for defending it. Meanwhile, the probe is going to be able to get out just before the Zerglings. Zerglings able to scare it away, and we should see another drone coming out from SlaveZenith in order to build that hatchery anytime now. Unless he's going for some sort of one-base push, but it looks like he's not going to be doing that. Very risky move from the Zerg player anyway. Also, another thing to note is that you'll see that when you go for gas first, you get 100 gas, then you basically stop, you pull all your drones off of gas, and then sometimes you leave one on. And you put the rest on minerals, because you need minerals to get a queen, you need minerals to get Zerglings, you need minerals to get drones, and you need minerals to get the new hatchery. And so all of that is very mineral intensive, and you don't actually need gas for a while after you get speed, because obviously Zerglings don't cost any gas. And so you just pull off of gas that at some point he's going to be putting back on, just because there's no need to. And that's not building another hatchery, is it? Is he double expanding with a hidden expansion probably right here, I would say, or maybe here to defend it easier? Let's see. Yep, he is going right here. And wow, I can't believe he's doing that. Alright, well, if this isn't spotted by NexSickness, or NexSickness doesn't do any sort of kind of quick rush off of one base, then it's actually going to be very effective there in catching, well, it's not in catching up, it's just in getting way ahead on economy. SlaveZenith is going to be able to do. And uh-oh, that probe, watch out, there's a Zergling! And the Zergling sees it, and I think the probe sees the Zergling. They're staring at each other and eyeing each other, then the sentries are going to go back up. They're like the bouncers for the probe, able to enforce, and he actually does want his opponent to see the expansion. It might mean because he doesn't care, or might mean because he's trying to do some sort of quick attack, cancel the expansion sort of attack, but that's not the case. He just has 3 gates. So he's just doing a 3-gate expansion, very standard for Protoss. Get a bunch of sentries early on just because you have the gas, and it allows them to build up energy, and this is an easy map, a relatively easy map to kind of wall off here, unless of course your opponent slides all the way around, breaks these 2 rocks, and attacks from below. Fairly rare to do that though, it's very difficult to do, just because your army has to be out of position. You know, imagine, let's say you're breaking these rocks, and then you finish these rocks, and you start attacking these rocks with your whole army as a Zerg player. And this is if it's not spotted. And then the Protoss player decides to move out and gets to here when you notice them, right? How are you supposed to get your army back to defend your base if it's stuck here? You know, it's very difficult to do any sorts of little attacks like that. And that's only if it's not spotted. If it is spotted, it's very easy to round up as well. So it's very dangerous to do sort of backdoor attacks on these. And he's actually got 5 probes queued up. Probably doesn't need to have that many queued up. He might have thought that Nexus was finished, which I'm sure will be starting pro production as well there. And possibly, oh, he doesn't have any Chrono Boost left. Zerglings are probably just going to go poke in, see what information they can get. And, oh, actually, they are doing a little attack. Now, this attack is less risky than the one I talked about, because in this case, he's only risking 9 Zerglings. It's only 9 Zerglings that he has to put right here, that he can send to attacking these rocks, then attacking these rocks. NexSickness should, of course, put a pylon here to be able to spot when the rocks are going down. Remains to be seen if he's going to do that in time to be able to stop the Zerglings as well. But it's really risky. When I was talking about the risk in the bottom there, you know, it's really only risky if you send your whole army down there, not if you just send a small group of Zerglings. Meanwhile, we do have a hatchery going up right there, as the 3rd is finished, and it did just get spotted, didn't it? Oops. Alright, sorry. Alright, well, I've accidentally pressed back, but evidently doesn't take you very far back. And so the observer is going to spot that expansion. He sees that there are only 3 bases for the Zerg, which of course isn't anywhere near the end of the world for the Protoss. It does mean that NexSickness might have a nice little chance there to... Oh, he is actually going to spot the Zerglings. Oh, nope, he's just checking for expansions. The Zerglings are going to be hidden in the little cloud of smoke or whatever that prevents vision, even though that there's these, like, immortals and sentries that can create force fields that just hang around. Oh, nope, but they were able to spot the Zerglings. Looks like those stalkers, though, are going to take a decent amount of damage. Oh, Zerglings trying to move by there. Nice force fields from NexSickness, though, able to trap his army in the middle and take out the rest of those. The rest of the Zerglings are, however, going to be able to pick off an Immortal. Very nice job for the part of SlaveZenith there. You always want to get free kills like that whenever possible, especially an Immortal. Immortals are incredibly vital late game if the Zerg players decide to go Roach. It looks like the Zerg player doesn't even have a Roach Warren, though. Oh, he does have a Roach Warren. He does have a Roach Warren, just no Roaches. I don't believe any Roaches. Yeah, 0 Roaches. He's going all Ling. But the Roach Warren is necessary because if your opponent just goes all Zealot and Stalker and Sentry, you need to be able to get Roaches to counter that. And we should see... Oh, no. Poor force fields. There we go. That's the kind of force fields you want. So he used more force fields than he really wanted to. And it looks like SlaveZenith tried to run in, but the Zealots were blocking it. Very wise part from NexSickness, able to prevent any sort of run by there from the drones. And able to take out a couple more Zerglings there. But he was able to drain some Sentry energy, which is certainly vital, and he was able to get a couple of free kills of Sentries. And so it might have been about an equal trade. We can go to the Units Lost tab, actually, and see that, oh, the Zerg players lost a lot more resources, actually. Meanwhile, I don't believe this is spotted, but it's about to be. Boom! Hello! Hello, Mr. Expansion. But try to do a run by again. NexSickness being very smart, keeping his Zealot back here, and those Zerglings are actually not going to be able to take out that robotics and just get wasted trying to take it out. So NexSickness has actually done a very good job killing a lot of free Zerglings now, and actually it might be a smart idea to actually just push out. I think his army is considerably larger. You do see he's 15 supply ahead, which is fairly rare. Uh-oh, those probes picked the wrong time to... Oh, actually, is he just going to... Oh, he doesn't see it, actually. He's going to run past and not do very much damage. Let's go ahead and take a look here. He might try to focus down the Nexus. He's not going to get it, though. Meanwhile, the rest of the army is going to come up and get even more free Zergling kills. So SlaveZenith is actually trading away a lot of Zerglings at a time when he doesn't have that big of an army. So I think actually if NexSickness was able to just push out and attack, he would deal a lot of damage, especially if Blink was finished, which it will be as long as he Chrono Boosts it before the attack. So definitely should be something that he's doing. I also want to comment on robotics facilities up front. Now, the reason to build them up front is because robotics facilities actually can't, of course, they can't use warp-in. Used to be able to warp-in Immortals from gateways, actually. And wow, look at all those banelings. Oh, he's going to be going for a baneling drop right on that base, and a ling drop, actually. So we'll see that. I'll go down there in a second, but I'll just keep talking about robotics for now. Oh, and actually did do a drop over here that I missed entirely. My mistake. Is it going to finish? Blink is going to finish before he gets taken out here, but he's able to snipe the Nexus. And not a whole lot else. We can go to the workers killed. He's actually only killed 4 workers. So other than the Nexus snap, which is certainly a big economics, a big damage to the economy, and then we see an attack down here as well. It looks like not that many more workers were taken out. Actually, 0 more workers were taken out. But now they're about to be taken out. Oh no, there you go. All right. And the banelings. No, these transfer workers. Oh, that was so close for those probes to be taken out. Meanwhile, nice double drop from the part of SlaveZenith, able to take out 2 Nexuses. Now, this is actually going to cause NexSickness to push out, which might actually end up being a bathing drop. Oh my god. Oh, look at the workers killed. 28 workers killed. Wow. Nice drops. Nice drops from the part of SlaveZenith there. That was a very terrific job. Now, but I believe, oh no, actually, now the Zerg army has taken a way large lead, just because of all the damage that was done. He's actually not even rebuilding his main, he's just rebuilding his third right there. And wow, and I was going to say he should push out, but it looks like SlaveZenith was able to re-macro up his army pretty well, and he's got baneling drop now, and it looks like he's going to be going in for another baneling drop in the main, and maybe some roaches as well. Or, these aren't all roaches, are they? Okay, there's only one group of roaches. And actually, that could be very effective there. Now, okay, so now NexSickness is way behind. I think he was ahead before because he was dealing so much damage to the Protoss. And actually, he's still ahead in units lost, but because so many probes were killed, obviously his macro is going to be down for a while. There's still a decent amount of probes, right? 35 probes isn't too bad considering the amount of damage that was just dealt by taking out 2 of his 3 bases. But we do see a Roach and baneling drop coming in. He's going to see that there is no Nexus up in his in the main though, but he's going to be able to take out a lot of production facilities before the Protoss army gets back there. It looks like the Protoss army. All right, so the Roaches are going to be dropped now, and there we go. And it's actually, because of the wall off, it's actually going to be hard to get into his base. And do we have the banelings? Yep, the banelings want to be dropped on the sentries. Not quite going to do it. Now, if you drop 3 banelings on this group of sentries, then basically NexSickness is just lost, because you just lost, what, 900 gas and half of that in minerals, right? So 450 minerals. That's 1,300 resources. A lot of it was gas that he just lost for no gain, basically. Now, NexSickness is taking his 4th as well. Sorry, SlaveZenith is taking his 4th. NexSickness is he's still building his defenses now, which are going to be in position. He puts his cannons up here to stop a drop, although a drop still could come from behind and be relatively effective in terms of banelings going by. And he's got another drop coming in as well as the Observer. The Observer is going to spot that, but it looks like NexSickness doesn't see it or just doesn't care. He doesn't want to give away his cybernetics. Oh no, now he sees it. There you go. It's going to keep your overlord or your observers in position. Actually, SlaveZenith sees that he's being responded to, so he decided to run it away. He needs to be a little more careful with his units there. There you go. Luckily, Blink was able to finish right before the Twilight Council was taken out, actually. And so he was lucky enough to have it finish. And a bunch of Zerglings are going to be dropped in this base as well. The cannons are up. I'm not sure how effective those cannons are going to be. And actually, he's just going to drop off his units behind and let them run in. Storm would be effective here, but the Zergling's going to counterattack against those High Templar. Probably not able to take one out. Yeah, they're not going to take one out. And meanwhile, a couple of Overlords are going to be taken out as well. And actually, I think NexSickness is actually